Welcome to Arc Raiders. You'll be treated to fantastic views, great weather, immersive sounds, and fireworks. Yeah, this game can be rough sometimes, but with a little bit of guidance, I can help make sure your flare is filling the sky a little less. What weapons should I use? How much ammo should I bring? What items should I loot? And what upgrades are worth it? And how do I fight these flying Cybertrucks? Yes, I'm sure you've got a lot of questions, and the good news is, I've got a lot of answers. So many answers, in fact, there's bound to be good answers in there somewhere. Now, you might have noticed, I'm no spring chicken. I can't muscle my way through Arc Raiders through mechanical prowess alone, and if you're listening to this, chances are, you can't either. But I've been playing this game since 2023 and I found consistent success through good decision making. This video is here to provide you with the guidance and information that you need in order to get past some of the pain points this game is going to provide you with. I'm going to respect your time and your intelligence, so I'm not going to sit here and just read you the menu or anything else you can do for yourself, and I didn't bloat it up with specialty tips. I have other videos for those topics, and because of that, even if you're already doing well, I've seen enough good players fail at certain things to know you're probably still going to gain some value from this video anyways. But we can't get started without saying thank you to my channel supporters. These absolute legends help make this kind of content possible. A special shout out goes to my Florida Man alligator tier supporter, the Trenimal, and Spectre. All of your support is truly appreciated. With all of that finally out of the way, strap in, let's get started. We're going to start off with loadouts. In the beginning, you're going to be strapped for cash and resources, so everything you bring has to get value. This loadout is the one I highly recommend becoming very familiar with. With a basic workbench, you can make this entire loadout with these materials. They are all extremely easy to find and stack up. Scrappy drip feeds you most of these items as well. Make sure you have these in abundance, as they are the foundation to most of your loadouts starting off, particularly the metal parts, as this is the main source of your ammo. More on that later. The Stitcher is the best option for PvP you have in the early game. You should also bring in a Ferro as your secondary. This is your first heavy ammo option. This weapon's primary purpose in this loadout is to be a cost-effective way to kill many of the PvE enemies you'll encounter, as well as being a good opener in a PvP fight. Now you could just bring in a Stitcher or something else with more ammo, but you will spend a lot more ammo and time dealing with PvE for about the same cost in materials, but with way less flexibility in your loadout. One of the most common ways you're going to die in this game is by getting jumped by another player while dealing with a PvE threat or shortly thereafter. So being able to kill them in an efficient and quick manner while keeping your PvP weapon full will allow you to not leave yourself vulnerable for longer than you need to. Now, you're always going to be going back and forth on how much to bring of any item, but medical items in particular are funny that way. You'll have raids where you'll get knocked out so fast it makes bringing lots of meds and ammo a waste. And in other raids, you'll start running out, making you think you need to start packing more. But starting off, this is a good amount to bring. You'll find more in raid, and this will supply you well for what you're doing in the early raids, which we'll talk about later in the video. But driving into the medical items themselves, the basic bandage isn't great in a fight, but it's easy enough to make and readily found in raid. The shield rechargers, however, can be a little harder to come by as they require an arc power cell. Be sure to pick these up regularly, otherwise shield rechargers will get pretty expensive to keep buying. Since you're wearing light armor, it only takes one shield recharger to fully repair it. So repairing a partial amount can be a little bit of a waste. That's fine because arc power cells can be used in the exact same manner, and you get them by looting most drones. Pick them up wherever you can, and they are great for repairing small chip damage. As you progress, you're going to get access to more types of medical items. You'll have your easy to apply, but slow to act, and your slow to apply, but fast to act. When trying to heal quickly, start off with the easy to apply with the largest benefit you have. Once these are taking their effect, apply the other types of meds if you need them and you have them. But bear in mind that if you have a healing effect active, damage will stop it, but it won't stop the application process. With that in mind, instead of holding down your quick button and navigating the item wheel, if you just press it quickly, it will equip the last thing you had selected. For this reason, and what I said before, keep your strongest bandage as your quick select. So if you're hit, you can dip behind cover, tap the button, and immediately apply it. At this point, you might be thinking, Gecko, I'm high speed. I've played these kind of games before. What else can I add to this loadout to give me the edge? Well, there are a couple of additional items that in my opinion aren't mandatory, but they do give you a lot of value. For starters, make it a point to loot steel springs things whenever you can. They'll be valuable for the refiner later, but early on, if you already have a weapons bench, you can craft basic extended magazines for your Stitcher. This weapon's ability to one-mag someone becomes significantly more consistent with 5 extra rounds. This is a 25% ammo increase for a rather insignificant investment. Frankly, there's very little you can add to a Stitcher that won't gain value for its cost, but this attachment in particular is worth it. Door jammers are easy to craft, and having one can save your life if you're getting rocked and need to run or buy time. At a certain point, I recommend investing in what I call an emergency med option. Depending on what you can afford, this can be an herbal or a sterilized bandage. You only need to bring 1 or 2 to get the benefit in an emergency, so be sure to keep them equipped in your quick use slot. Moving back to the loadout itself, with regards to augments, you'll have access to some basic augments to start off early. Whether that be through crafting or the traders, you're honestly better off just using the looting augment for now. Now, some of you may be thinking, this is significantly more than what I was planning on bringing. Isn't there a, quote, more budget-friendly option?
All I hear from you spineless cowards, is how poor you are.
No matter what you bring, it's gonna cost resources that could supply a real loadout. You could bang your head against the wall and lose multiple budget loadouts because you lack the proper tactical options to get you out of the situation you find yourself in. Trust me when I tell you, this is a budget kit, but it's also giving you the tools to defend your investment and be more likely to evac successfully in the first place. In the very near future, thanks to this video, when you've gotten enough experience and resources, your loadouts will evolve. However, for right now, this loadout will equip you to be able to learn what's important and what's not. With all of that set up, we're moving on to workbenches. Given all of the things I've mentioned in the recommended starting loadout, you don't really need to prioritize any one workbench in particular. A weapon bench will give you the ability to make attachments, and the refiner will make it way easier to be supplied with higher level items, some of which you'll need for missions. The refiner does the opposite of recycling by allowing you to use lower level materials to create higher level ones. In general though, you should start stacking up arc parts like the Wasp drivers, Hornet drivers, Snitch scanners, tick pods, and fireball burners. These will be useful for upgrading your benches, and they sell for a good amount should you need to start buying things in the meantime. More than likely, an expansion to your stash will be the first major expense. You should definitely build all of the workbenches, but what to prioritize upgrading really will depend on what recipes you start to get a hold of early on. In Arc Raiders, what you have access to craft will depend on what recipes you find in Raid. Your experience is going to be very different depending on what you find. If you find a recipe for a grenade, upgrade your explosive bench. If you find a recipe for a blue or green gun, upgrade your weapons bench. You get the idea. Because of how important they are, when you find a recipe, put it in your safe pocket right away. When you get back to the base, you can consume them to unlock the ability to craft it or sell it for a decent amount. It will tell you what bench it's for and what level that bench needs to be. If a recipe needs a level 3 bench, you're probably not going to get a lot of value out of it right away. Not because you'll need to upgrade your bench first, but because the crafting materials needed for said items will be harder to find and stack up as well. With regards to upgrading benches, I recommend tracking all of the bench upgrade recipes so you're always reminded to pick up those key items. The two exceptions to all of this are Scrappy and the Refiner. These two are hands down the most consistent investment that will be worthwhile to upgrade early and often. Because of what we talked about earlier, having a good stream of Scrappy's material will save you headaches down the road. The Refiner will make transitioning to and maintaining mid-tier items way easier. Mechanical components are the major building blocks for many green weapons and attachments, and the refiner is a great way of making them. Basic gun parts are also worth stocking up on, as those will also play a big part in crafting more advanced parts. The skill tree has a lot of good choices. However, it really does deserve its own video, and if mine is out already, I'll link it here. In the meantime, you can't go wrong with stamina. Next, we'll go over what to focus on in your early raids. But before we get into that, if you've made it this far, you should give this video a like, and I'd like to ask you to consider hitting that subscribe and notification button as well. Thank you so much for your consideration, and now back to the video. Before dropping into a raid, you should have some personal goals for what you want to accomplish in the raid or even for the next few raids, outside of the missions and daily challenges that is. So you're not just aimlessly wandering the map, you should know what you want.
What do you want to do, huh? What do you want to do?
Do you want to focus on bench upgrades, battle pass progress, or do you want to hit a key room? Identify what that is before you go into the raid and probably have a plan B in mind. I'll get into why in a second. Early on, I think you should focus on building up basic loadout supplies. Having supplies needed to consistently be able to put together good loadouts makes it so when you eventually do die, it's easily replaced and you can get right back on track. With this in mind, for some of your initial raids, I'm going to recommend you do the following the moment you spawn. First, check where you are on the map, where the closest evac is, and place a ping on it. And then, find out where the evac with the longest timer is located. The next thing you want to do is move to the closest looting area, preferably on your way to the evac you just marked, and then to set evac. Open every container on your way, pick up every item you get your hands on, and try to accomplish your quest if you can, but your objective is to evac with as full a bag as you can manage within 5 to 7 minutes. Completing 3 raids like this in a combined 15 to 20 minutes while spending minimal resources is a super effective way at gathering up basic crafting supplies. And I want you to always remember this: evacing with half a bag is better than dying with a full one. Having a pro-progress mindset will set a great foundation for your raids in the future. As you're approaching the evac location, be super mindful of the sounds on the map. Gunshots and arc noises will tell you where active players are, and the arc presence will tell you where players are not. When you reach the evac, go to the evac elevator panel, activate it, and take cover somewhere else that's not drawing attention while maintaining your awareness. Once the doors open, you get in, and there are 2 panels opposite of each other on the corners of the bunker. Choose the panel that least exposes you to the areas you could not already clear. Utilize these small cover pieces to force potential enemies to expose themselves if they want to shoot you. Here are some small notes. Check the time when you spawn. Arc Raiders stagger spawns players into the raids. As of the time of this recording, the longest time is 30 minutes and the shortest time is 18. This plays into player movements and the likelihood of people being around extracts. Be flexible. Your plans may not match up with what you have available to you in terms of spawn location or time left. Trying to rush recklessly across the map because you're short on time is a quick way to stumble into an ambush. If you're trying to avoid a fight for whatever reason, sometimes it's better to head to an evac with plenty of time left on it rather than the one that's close by. If for whatever reason you get downed near the elevator, you can still activate the panel on the outside and the panel on the inside, so never give up hope. Now, as far as safe pockets are concerned, early on, your loadouts are highly dependent on metal parts. If you get killed, but you have enough materials in your safe pocket to recoup the ammo costs, that's a huge help. But here's the bottom line: don't forget to fill your safe pocket. Even if it is just extra meds you brought in raid with you, there should be no excuse for that slot to ever be empty. Now, on your journey from spawn to evac, you're going to encounter a lot of arc threats. Now, if you like getting jumped because you're taking too long killing them, you can ignore the rest of the video. But if that's not the case, stick with me just a little bit longer. Starting off, if you're not sure which bot you're looking at, you can always ping it and it will be identified. When the bots are patrolling, their scanners are blue, and when they suspect enemies, they start investigating and it turns yellow, and when they're actively engaging, it turns red. The aerial bots and the turrets narrow their red scan to a direct beam, and it flashes as they're about to fire. This tells you as the target when to dodge, and as an observer, it tells you the exact location of the enemy player. Now bear in mind, when fighting PvE, there's no real way to kill them quietly, so if you're going to fight them, speed and cover are your best tools. Engage arcs from a position of cover and be mindful of the possible angles of approach by players. Even if a player can take a pop shot at you, so long as your armor and your health are good and you're able to break line of sight, heal, or even run, you'll be fine. But if they're able to close the distance with you unaware, their ability to kill you without warning is way higher. Okay, now let's rapid fire how to deal with some specific PvE threats. Starting off on the ground, the fireball, the tick, and the turret are going to be common indoor bots. Ferros can one-shot fireballs and two-shot turrets, and the trigger bot can be killed with a quick burst from your stitcher or even just your melee weapon. Turrets have a narrow initial scan area but have a much wider firing arc and will engage you immediately. If it aggroes onto you, you'll need to break line of sight completely. The Snitch has 3 wings that are easily knocked out. Taking out 2 of them should do the trick. The Wasp and Hornet are easy to kill if you hit the right spots. They both have 4 turbines, and if you destroy 2 of them, they will crash and explode most of the time. The Wasp is easy enough, but the Hornet has a bunch of front-loaded armor. If you're close or low enough, you can see directly past the armor to hit the turbines, which have 0 armor. The back ones make easy first targets. The larger arcs, like the Rocketeer and the Bastion, should be avoided early on, at least until you have access to some tools to help. I plan on putting out guides on how to deal with them, even as a solo, so keep an eye out for those. If you do manage to aggro them, you need to go inside of a building where you can cut line of sight and exit out of a way where they cannot reacquire vision of you. With all of this in mind, be sure that your pathing doesn't lead you into a position where you're fighting PvE where you're easily viewable by an enemy player. Oftentimes, good pathing can prevent worse situations from even happening. Okay, with all of that knowledge, you should have everything you need to have a solid start in Arc Raiders. I will be putting out more specific guides out soon, so hit that subscribe and notification button. In the meantime, check out this PvP guide that you probably don't need, but your teammates certainly do. And if you're looking for people to play with, check out the Discord. Best way to support the channels are linked down below. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and good hunting.